Remember when Shannon Sharpe got into it with Ja Morant's father, Tee Morant? It was, to be fair, a very embarrassing display that brought Sharpe into the public eye outside of his work on his podcast and when he was a co-host with Skip Bayless on Undisputed, which continues to air on Fox Sports 1. Prior to halftime on this dais, the Grizzlies' Dillon Brooks, Steven Adams, and Ja Morant bickered with Sharpe from across the court. Cooler heads, though, would prevail, with Sharpe and T making amends just before the start of the fourth quarter. Post-game, afterwards, the two would share some laughs and handshakes. Smiles were to be had. After some time, Sharpe would then say this on Nightcap.
He and I had a great conversation after the thing. He's like, man, I ain't mean no harm. I said, bro, all I know is I heard what you said, and when I whirled around, now I'm on one. And woo. Honestly, when people say they black out, I believe them. I completely forgot I was at the game. I said, if one guy step over that line, it's over. Ooh, Lord. I said, I hate that I put myself in that situation, but Gil, when I say I blacked out, I honestly did. The security took me back in the hallway, and they was talking to me. Hey, you good? You good? As I'm calming down, I said, oh, man. I said, man, I done messed up. I said, my sister gonna see this. I said, my brother gonna see this. My kids gonna see this. I said, man. And I remember looking down at my phone. Everything is just like, I said, I said, man, Shannon, you done messed up now. It is what it is. Hey, I'm wrong. I'm dead. I was wrong. I apologize to the Grizzlies and Dillon Brooks. Honestly, that might have been one of the worst moments of my life. I should have let it go.
He says he should have let it go, which he absolutely should have. Before we get into it, if there are any stories we missed, if there are any that you would like to submit, get at me and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. DMs are open, and please, if you can, support the network. We are doing a membership drive. Go to tyt.com/join to contribute. I don't think a lot of people remember how embarrassing this was. And it's not embarrassing when you have like the Clay Travises and Jason Whitlocks of the world calling you out because they're just scum of the earth. It's more so that all of this was negative press. And this was during a time when Shannon was getting criticism for how he was treating Ja Morant. And it was also starting to be the downfall of Shannon and Skip's relationship on Undisputed. So there was a lot going on here already. But how I would look at this is Shannon says he regrets it because of what occurred afterwards, which was so many articles being written, so many tweets, so many people talking about bad behavior, uncontrolled. Why would you go after, professional athletes in that manner? Stephen A would always say, and I agree with this, that you could talk about the game and talk about performance, but this just went overboard. What would bring a man who was in the national spotlight? You have a huge podcast, you have a YouTube channel that's over 1 million subscribers, and you're on a major cable news network as the main co-host opposite, whatever you want to say about him, a mainstay in sports media, whether for good or bad, Skip Bayless. And you go after Ja, and you go after Dillon Brooks, and then Steven Adams gets involved. It was just a bad look overall, and frankly, dumb. Just bad and dumb. And that's why I think he regrets this. Because what would bring somebody, let's just also think about this abstractly. When you're sitting courtside, anybody, whether it's a owner, GM, fan, and you start getting involved, what happens? I remember during the COVID years when they were only letting in a certain amount of fans, and in Atlanta, there was the uncovering of a woman and man because of their conduct and what they were saying to, I believe, LeBron James. There was also the owner who flopped. I think it was the new Phoenix Suns owner. The Grizzlies owner got into it as well. Kyle Lowry got pushed when sitting courtside. Like, just because you are there, you're a well-known person, or you're affluent because either way you're sitting courtside, it doesn't give you the right to do any of this. And I think Shannon has learned from the backlash that he received publicly from not only media members and sports consumers, but also just people who can recognize something that was done wrong.